Hey guys, this is Veera. If you're watching for the first time my channel, please do subscribe and like. Today let's talk about the new feature which is the Spring REST client. It's basically alternate to the REST template and the web client. So most of the guys are aware of the REST template. Basically, it's going to be deprecated soon, and it is a very old the API which was implemented to make any API calls. And nowadays, most of the people are using the web client. Basically, the web client which supports both the reactive and non-reactive programming. Basically, the synchronous and asynchronous APIs. So, whereas the REST client, which is implemented recently, which supports only the asynchronous basically to call the synchronous calls. It's similar to the web client. So, however, we write the web client creating the object for the web client. Similarly, we also create a REST client using the builder object, and then we can set the URL. We have the all the different operations supported by the REST client, like get, put, post, delete, and other the API operations, and also we get the response from the API. So let's see one example, and also before that, let me show you the API documentation for both the REST client and the web client. Yeah, here is the web client API documentation. We can see basically we have the response body to get the API response. We have a retrieve and exchange to mono and exchange to flex. If you go to the REST client, we basically have two operations. One is the retrieve and the exchange. Basically, the retrieve it just gives the API response, whereas the exchange it returns the response with the response entity. We know the response entity basically it will have the status code, everything as part of the exchange operation. And exchange is a more specific, not a specific basically what operation that you want to call. It could be get, put, post, or delete operations. So that is the exchange method. So you can go through the official API documentation to understand better about all those the different methods available here. So you can see this is the just example they are giving. So how to use the exchange as I mentioned. So here in the exchange we get the response object, and you can check the status code. If the status code is okay, then get the response body. If not, then throw the exception. So this is where more you will have a control based on the response code what you want to perform. So similarly, you can see the web client documentation as well. So we have all the operations, right? And even if you see the code for the retrieve, you will see the similar kind of a code. So code is almost the same, both REST client and web client, whereas the web client, if at all, if you want to call any synchronous APIs, so we need to do the blocking, or basically we need to just block it in order to get the response. But with the REST client, we don't need to do any kind of a blocking. And the REST client which was introduced as part of the Spring 6.1, since most of the applications are now with the Spring Boot, so we need to use the latest version of Spring Boot, that is the 3.2 milestone version. Then only we get the REST client. Whereas in the web client, if you want to use the web client, we additionally need to add a dependency for the web flex, whereas the REST client we no need to add any additional dependency. It is just a Spring Boot starter web dependency. Now let's see how we can implement the REST client. I have the two APIs. One is the product application, the cart application. So basically the product application to create a product, and cart application to basically add a product details into the cart. So in order to add a cart details, basically the product details into the cart application, I have a cart client which is in the product microservice. So where I want to call the cart API in order to publish the product details into the cart. So here if you see, I want to add all the cart product details into the cart. So I created a method called add to cart, so which basically uses the REST client instead of the web client. So in order to create the REST client object, so what I was trying to do is similarly for the web client or even the REST template, we create a bean for it. So I'm also creating a bean for the REST client. I'm just returning the REST client object. So if you have any common URL, you can also set the any base URL, or you can set even other parameters like the request timeout, response timeout, and also the keep alive, any other configurable the configurations, however you are setting for the existing application. So you can set all the HTTP configurations as part of this particular configuration classes. So this class is not a mandatory, it is optional. If you want to go with a more generic to set all the configurations, timeout every parameter, you can go with the HTTP configuration. Once you are done with the HTTP configuration, now we have the REST client object. In order to get the REST client object, so we just need to auto-wire or use the constructor injection for the REST client. And then, so once we have the REST client, use the various operations what you want to perform, whether you wanted to perform the post, get, put, or delete, or whatever. So since I want to perform the post operation, REST client dot post, and then we need to pass the URL. The URL contains both the base URL and if you have any path variables or request parameters or query parameters, just pass it, and then set the content type and what is that we are expecting. So once we publish, so we need to post the body. So that's the request body or payload, request payload. So the request payload is going to be the product object, and then I'm expecting for the response retrieve, and then to bodiless entity, because I'm not returning any response. So if at all if you want to return the response, you can say retrieve, and then so you can also check the status if you are expecting any response body. So you can also basically we have the to entity. So to entity which gives the status. So that is how we can get the response. Let's say to entity, I'm expecting for, let's say, string, or if you have any specific object that you are expecting the response from the cart API, so that you can return. So I don't want to return any response, so that's the reason I'm just writing the to bodiless entity. So this is how we are going to use the API implementation using the REST client. So thank you so much guys for watching this video. I'll be sharing the GitHub link for the reference how we can use the REST clients, and also I'll be sharing the API documentation links as well as part of the description. Please watch this video. If you like this video, please do subscribe and share the links to your friends. Thank you so much for watching this video.